One of the most talked about topics this year has obviously been stablecoins, and it's for good measure. Almost every single major company now is looking at stablecoins in a large way, how to utilize them. Government, agencies and organizations are now looking into it as well. And it is because stablecoins are becoming a very big thing for transactions, hitting well over $12 trillion in volume already, which is crazy, challenging Visa, just for reference. But we're going to be talking about this. Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. And also for all of those viewing this video right now, if you're not following me on all platforms right now, currently, you're missing out on a massive amount of content. So go and follow me on all socials down in the description below and join the free Discord to make sure that you are taking advantage of all of the information in that Discord as well, to make sure that you are set to dominate this cycle and take a ton of profits. Now, with that being said, let's go back to April of this year where we got this report from the BIS, the central bank of central banks, the one that makes the changes around our monetary system. Stablecoins, regulatory responses to their promise of stability. And here we have a full breakdown of all the risk associated with stablecoin issuance. Number one, we have stablecoins are gaining traction in the mainstream financial sector, presenting both opportunities and challenges. They hold the promise to mirror the value of fiat currencies, but consistently achieving value parity remains a challenge. Now, within this, they do talk about as the stablecoin market continues to evolve in its quest to offer a means of payment. National and international regulatory bodies are responding to these developments by implementing a comprehensive suite of measures aimed at mitigating the risk associated with stablecoin issuance. These measures span critical areas, including licensing, reserve asset management, redemption rights, capital adequacy, consumer protection, governance and risk management, cybersecurity, anti-money laundering, countering the financing of terrorism compliance as well. Now, one thing that I want to bring up with this is the fact that this is all a part of the unharmonized regulation push that the BIS started back in April. Yes, this is pertaining to this post as well because they do quote it down here, but initially what they're talking about up here is just the problem that they have with stablecoin regulation itself, which, by the way, they also say that the need for stablecoin regulation is urgent, but diversity in regulation poses risk for their integration into the international financial system. They want to integrate stablecoins into the financial system, but the issue here is regulations. Uniform requirements are needed to integrate stablecoins into the international financial system. Now, as we really look at this, we got one big update around regulations, and that was MiCA. And the reason why I bring this back up, and the reason why I talk about MiCA so much, is because it already impacted this space in a large way. Why? Well, as we really look at it, Tether, the big one in question here, has been delisted on multiple exchanges for EU users already, which is a warning sign of what's to come for Tether, right? Because it's a big question of what's going on. Is Tether, to be trusted? Because we've talked about it for many years now. Tether has had its rough times in the space. Tether is still obviously one of the largest stablecoins in this space, but for how long? We know that there's been proof that Tether has really kind of propped up Bitcoin. It's inflated the price of Bitcoin. And even more recently, I have some information around Tether that's a little concerning. But the reason why I'm bringing all of this up is because of Ripple, right? We know Ripple has been preparing around stablecoins. Back in November of 2022, actually, they put out a report talking about the stablecoin race is on. And in a white paper recently, The Functional Evolution of Digital Assets, this was focusing on stablecoins and even tokenized deposits and how they're taking the finance industry by storm, bridging digital money and the current legal and regulatory frameworks. And you know what's funny about this? I actually put out a post regarding what I envision coming. And I even said within this, I said stablecoins are obviously going to be a big deal, but also tokenized deposits. Tokenized reserves around banks like JPM Coin, for an example, are happening. All of this is happening now. And it's so funny how things are really kind of evolving around money and currency and even things of value, but we already knew that this was going to happen. Everything of value is going to be tokenized eventually. But within this report, okay, and I don't want to waste too much time on this because there is a lot of information within this report. The number one thing that I really want to focus on here is how important Ripple is taking or focusing on, regulations and compliance around stablecoins. They're not looking at this and saying, oh yeah, stablecoins, they're already kind of regulated. They're already, kind of compliant. No, they're fully focused on this because if we are going to have stablecoins adopted in, massively, right? Mass adoption of stablecoins, we need to make sure that everything is locked tight. Regulatory environments, for an example, collateral dependence, security vulnerabilities, which is all labeled here in terms of key considerations. Now, there's a lot of great use cases for stablecoins, but the problem here is that most of the stablecoins that we have in this space, and there's really only one that we focus on, which is Circle, because Circle is the only one that we can 100% trust at this current moment in time. We focus on the regulatory side of things. And if there is any company in this space that we could actually trust with a stablecoin. This is why I do think that Ripple stepping into the door is a very big deal, because outside of Circle, Ripple's the only actual name that we could technically trust, because Tether has given us pretty much nothing. And even here, we actually have integration and regulatory landscape, just like the BIS is telling us, in order to actually integrate stablecoins within the system, specifically here, banking system, as they are mentioning, we have regulatory challenges around consumer protection, financial stability, transparency. Everything needs to be locked tight here. Risk management, consumer protection, anti-money laundering, operational resilience, transparency, reporting, and legal challenges. All of this is crucial. As we look at Tether today, I don't think that Tether passes the test because, one, transparency. There has been pretty much zero transparency from Tether side. As dialogue continues between regulators, banks, tech firms, and other stakeholders, the gradual adoption of stablecoins issued by traditional institutions could bring increased liquidity, stability, and faster integration of tokenized assets into the mainstream financial system. Now, yeah, this is a big deal, but the problem is the regulatory side of things. Mika is a game changer, but the problem with Mika is that, guess what? We now have problems with Tether. Mika opened up a can of worms around Tether, in my opinion, but a lot of people are not talking about it. A lot of people are not focused on it. And then more recently, August 1st, we get a big announcement from the Bank of England and the BIS. This is a stablecoin reserve monitoring tool. Now, I want to get into this here in a second, but I have to go over here to Wrath of Kahneman, who initially put me onto this report. We have Project Pixtrial is a joint BIS and Bank of England project exploring how tech can monitor the balance sheets of asset-backed stablecoins, noting the growing role of stablecoins. They mention Ripple's upcoming RLUSD in the presentation, along with some others. And what's interesting about this is Ripple's stablecoin is not even launched, yet they are mentioning it here alongside notable names like PayPal, for an example. And here we have what's interesting to note, aside from Ripple's prior engagement with the Bank of England, is that the BIS is fine mentioning an unreleased Ripple stablecoin, as if it is presumably an already respectable project of some impact. I attribute it to their coherent regulatory engagement. And yeah, probably, right? Ripple is extremely compliant. They are working with regulators, or at least trying to. We know that also Ripple is working with the BIS, going back to August of 2023. This is almost a year old now. But also, remember the rabbit hole that I put out with the Bank of England and Ripple. This was a substantial breakdown of pretty much all the connections back to Ripple and the Bank of England, and we already know that it is very, very large. But outside of these connections, right, let's tap into this new project by the BIS, monitoring the backing of stablecoins, specifically the backing of stablecoins. Now, before I really get into this, I want to talk about Tether a little bit. Big shout out to Smoke Dog for this. Tether's unknown backings documented by the Bank of International Settlements. Tether is the largest fiat-based stablecoin in the market with the most trading pairs by far and is the only fiat-based stablecoin with unknown reserves as illustrated below. And this is from the BIS from November of 2023, titled, "Will the real stablecoin please stand up?" And over here, let me open this up real quick. Check this out. Due to a lack of clarity, it is unclear whether these stablecoins would be able to convert users' stablecoins at par on demand and what the financial stability implications would be a potential run. And here we actually have all of the projects. Tether, unknown. There you have the unknown backing of it. This is very interesting. Now, they do also mention money market funds in red. They mention reverse repo as well. Then they also mentioned the debt issued by public entities and commodities and a few things. But for the most part, like, what really is Tether's backing? Because we haven't solved, like, they never gave us their balance sheets. They never gave us anything around Tether. Now, outside of this, let's go over here. Tether's creator settled for $41 million with the US regulators over allegations of misleading investors about whether the coin was fully backed by dollars. According to the breakdown, it's not fully backed by dollars. When the curtain is finally pulled back, all will be revealed. And also, what they don't want you to see, the breakdown of what is behind Tether. Others equals unknown backing behind the USDT stablecoin. Only if you truly knew everything documented about this project, then you would have a full picture of the crypto market. And listen, as we really look at what's going on here, Tether's legitimacy is definitely in question. It always has been. Until we actually see a full breakdown of the balance sheet, all the proof there, I'm never going to trust Tether. But over here, we have this project Pixtrial. And I don't want to go too in-depth on this because there's so much information around this. I just want to talk a little bit more about the executive summary and then also the conclusion. And here we have Project Pixtrial is a joint project between the Bank of for International Settlements, Innovation Hub, and the Bank of England. It explores how technology solutions can enable the monitoring of asset-backed stablecoins balance sheets, providing insight into whether the backing assets exceed their liabilities at all times. This puts immense amount of pressure on Tether, in my opinion. To support the supervision of issuers of asset-backed stablecoins, Project Pixtrial has developed a prototype data analytics pipeline, which includes data collection, storage, and analysis. The technology is a first step towards a tool that could support supervisors and regulators in proactively detecting issues in stablecoin backing and aid the development of policy frameworks based on integrated data. And the project explores how technology solutions can enable the monitoring of balance sheets of asset-backed stablecoins. And you know what's crazy about this? This is them preparing for stablecoins to be integrated into the monetary system. These are the tools that they need. Now the question is, will Tether withstand something like this? And will Tether still be around? That's the big question. Now, outside of this, if we scroll all the way down to the conclusion, here we have that the project has shown that it can provide supervisors with near real-time data about stablecoins' liabilities and their backing assets. It also has the potential to monitor other tokenized products that are backed by real-world assets. And the number one thing that I want to focus on here is Ripple stablecoin. Okay, we know that Ripple stablecoin will be backed. And the balance sheet of Ripple, it's so strong. It is so strong. They will immediately be able to repeg the stablecoin if needed to. But also, they are already working with the BIS. And they have worked with the Bank of England. And they are working with regulators. They are compliant first. This is where we look at Ripple becoming a very large winner and player in the stablecoin market. And I want to play this really quick 52-second long clip that got posted by 707 Crypto, the gold standard stablecoin. Check this out.
So with the stablecoin, here in the US, we have money transmission licenses in more than 40 states. We also set about acquiring Standard Custody, which is a registered trust company with the New York DFS. New York DFS is widely regarded, not just in the US, but internationally, as very robust regulator. So we're already building toward the DFS and trust company requirements as we go through that, closing the standard custody transaction. So my point being is like, we're holding kind of the gold standard in mind in how we're building and how we will be regulated. Of course, overseas, we also have applied for e-money institution licensing in Europe, as well as we have the major payment institution license in Singapore, and also have applied or received virtual asset service provider licensing in Europe and other places in the Middle East. So
again, and if we really think about this, with all the work that Ripple is putting in, they truly are becoming the gold standard around stablecoins. This is why I don't think that Circle is really going to be a big competitor for Ripple. I don't think that Tether is going to be a big competitor for Ripple. Everyone is writing off Ripple becoming a dominant giant around stablecoins. I really do think that they have this bagged. With all of their connections, with all of the work that they've put in well over a decade, right? I truly do believe that Ripple is going to shock a lot of people once they have their stablecoin out in the market and once we start to see the volumes pouring into it because of the compliance first mindset that they have and with all of the significant planning and connections that they also have as well. So with that being said, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you guys did enjoy the video, definitely leave a like, subscribe to notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, this has been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.